Hello homeschoolers, welcome to the land of Yak Yak. My name is Laurel. Today I'm going to do my planning for my upcoming first graders homeschool curriculum picks. Okay, so I gotta turn to bows. Okay, I do have my sequences. I'll share these stuff with you. Okay, he's going into first grade. So I do have some things here and these all linked to McGuffey readers. I already have those. Copy work, okay. Tracked this out a long time ago, kind of what I wanted, these grade and skills and like some example resources I could use. He is in the primer right now, so he won't be done with that before the end of the summer. So he will start out in the primer and then move into the first reader in first grade. So I had it for independent reading. I already have these vintage book sets. There's also the RC reading list, but in my experience, like William was not able to even start the RC reading list until, I don't know, like late second grade, mid second grade, late second grade. So I have some book sets that I've showed before. So I won't bore you by showing them again, but I'll link the whole document. So if you want to look at it, you can click at any of these resources I show you today, and it should take you to where you can look at them online. But I have another set, that's right. I also have the Dash into Reading. I got those specifically for independent reading. They're like decodable text. Writing, so copy work, I'm gonna be using the companion notebook to the primer. I've showed it before. I'll link to a longer video on it. Okay, so this is the Dash into Reading. This is book set 2 that I'll be giving him for his independent reading time. They're very short, so 10 minutes should be plenty of time for him to read one or two of them to himself. Of course, we've got the McGuffey primer. This is on the instructional level. I always make sure that whatever he has for independent reading is a lower reading level than his instructional level, and at least until they get older, because once they get to a certain point, you basically taught them all you're going to teach them about actually decoding words and stuff, and they could just read whatever. But for right now, I'm conscious of that. So we will be using the McGuffey's Revised Primer Reading and Writing Companion Notebook with the primer to basically cover all of his language arts. Oh, that's the second option cover. You can pick either one. This is still in here from when I did some examples. He's actually like halfway through the primer right now, so he won't even start it until, later on down the road. Yeah, you can see this is going to have his copy work in it. So yeah, as long as he is working on, in the primer, for me, the big spelling goal is to recognize the phonograph relationship. So I'm really going to be I'm going to be using still his phonics made plain flashcards, and that, to me, that's the most important spelling skill at the primer level that he gets a lot of practice on. So he's actually technically still back here in the primer, which I have kind of slated for kindergarten, but it doesn't matter if these things overlap. He is reading a little bit at a little bit of a slower pace than when I taught William to read, using the same resources and stuff, so just different kids. And yeah, I'm just using these phonics made plain flashcards to go along with his lessons right now. So this is the big spelling focus for me at the moment. And then I showed you guys before, we've been playing spelling races, and I've been using both his vocabulary word flashcards that go along with the primer and these measured mom cards where they're filling in. See how we're on the phonogram level? The word would be 10. He'd have to know N and be able to write N on his own. So this has been working out well, and it really lets me know what he doesn't have completely mastered yet. We love playing. Plus we play with both of his older brothers at the same time with their own, spelling word flashcards and stuff like that. And then I also bought, once we get into the first primer, I went ahead and bought, the Measured Mom had a level 2. And there was two versions of level 2 words. I got these ones to play with him. So basically, he already knows IGH. We were working on this yesterday. It says I. But you know, reading is a little easier than spelling. So yeah, the words in these reading are always more advanced than the words I'm having him spell. So by the time we get into the first reader, I will start I'll work these. I use these cards with the spelling races, and I use the, like I said, the vocabulary words from his book. I use both. So that's what I'm focusing on for his spelling this year, is actually going to be his vocabulary words. You know, how the readers have set vocabulary words. And talking to him about the spelling rules that go along with each one. I have my spelling rule flashcards that I will also keep. I like to, whenever something is covered, whenever we've like covered something, I like to pull that spelling flashcard out at this age and have him start a review pile. And I just have things that we're constantly drilling and reviewing. And you'll see that throughout the year as I kind of like update you on how things are looking in the notebook. You'll see it. I love the Phonics Made Plain flashcards. And then also the Alpha Phonics flashcards, phonogram flashcards, they're free. You just print them out. And spelling, I do have my McGuffey spelling level 1 that I could use for spelling. If I feel like I have not used the companion notebooks for the primer and then the first reader. So once he gets into the first reader, I'll move him into the first reader companion notebook. This is for the first 31 lessons. I'll link another video where I went through this one. But it's got copy work at the word level. It starts out with some review lessons, like the first 10 lessons are like review from the primer. Let's see, when it gets into like the new phonics, right, we're still working on the phonogram level word analysis. This is where I'm going to start talking to him about spelling patterns that we see. And then we've got word synthesis. They're supposed to be building new words. Like, I have them write their original words, but then building new words with sounds that they already know. That was what was recommended by the Eclectic Manual of Methods, but I also am going to be using this developmental sequence of phonological skills. I just shared this. It was included with my second companion notebook. I'm going to put it in my Google Drive and share the link with you in the description box today, because it starts at age 5 and goes all the way to age 9. You can use this with any level of reader. But yeah, so I'll be doing these exercises as well. Okay, so I have 2 McGuffey reading and writing companion notebooks that he will be using for his, and his readers, for his reading lessons, his spelling, his vocabulary, and his handwriting, used in the form of copy work. And so I have those 2. And then I've got instructional reading and independent reading as well. Okay, so let's go to Bo's planning page for the year. Start making notes. Okay, Bo, this is going to be grade 1, right, 24 to 25. Okay, my required subjects are math, reading, and writing. And then, of course, he's got social studies, science, and any electives. Okay, so for reading, he's going to start out in the primer. I like that when I fill this out, I always say this, but it helps me create my class descriptions that I have to turn into my homeschool association. So I'll be going over still have the McGuffey primer, right? This is the instructional level, and he will have the first reader that he will get into. Again, this is the instructional level, and then he will have, for his independent reading, he will have the dash into reading set. Right, this is his independent reading right now. I want to set him up at independent reading because that's going to be required of him as he gets, goes forward. So we want to go ahead and just set the habit of independent reading now, is my thinking. Okay, so for other resources, I definitely have my Phonics Made Plain flashcards. Oh, I have a Phonics file. I made one, but I actually ordered one that's like pre-made. That's going to be, I think it's going to be coming today. I'll make a little mini haul video. Yeah, it's like something that you can like build. It's like, this is for more like spelling. Maybe I should have put that in the writing section because it's having more to do with spelling. Okay, I'll say phonics file. Okay, also I consider, so reading, I obviously consider phonics, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and those are my main 3 areas that we are focusing on. So for writing is, handwriting is the focus, and spelling, and a little bit of grammar, like punctuation and capitalization rules. Okay, so phonics file, this is going to spelling. Oh yeah, also going to spelling is the spelling races game. And I've got vocab flashcards. Put them in both spots, reading and spelling, because I use the flashcards to drill him in reading, but I also use them as spelling words for him to play spelling races with me. So then for writing, I've got a companion notebook, right? It's got copywork in there. 2, I've got another companion notebook. Okay, yeah, for the primer, we're gonna finish that, and for the first reader. Yeah, I expect the first reader to then even take us into 2nd grade. We'll see how fast, we'll see if his reading, how much it speeds up. I'm not sure exactly what track he's on, how fast it's gonna end up going through these lessons. William, when he did this, he was going so fast. I added in I think it was the first reader, the McGuffey's original series. I added in the first reader, and we alternated because he had to have something else to read, because he was just learning to decode words so quickly. And then but he wasn't, his comprehension wasn't as high as his decoding level, so I had to slow him down by giving him more lessons to master. But I don't think I'll have to do that with Bo. I think he'll be more normal. Yeah, so for grammar, I don't really have a book. I'm just gonna be pointing that stuff out within his copywork and stuff. Next most important thing, so to me, reading and writing is the basis that everything else is built upon in academics. So I always start there as the most important thing to me, and then I move on to the other stuff. Yeah, and if I feel like his spelling isn't progressing right, isn't progressing well, I will pull out the McGuffey spelling level 1, and I'll just adjust our plan. The companion notebooks it's a slightly different way to work with the McGuffies than my McGuffey plan that I used with William, which was working fine and everything. Sometimes I just want to try stuff. It's not that other things weren't working. It's just oh, maybe I want to try something this way, and maybe I felt like it was a little bit more everything together. So for the sake of feeling more simplistic, I wanted to try it out. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so for math, he's still in Number Stories book 2, but he will get into book 3 this year. Number Stories book 1. Those are the 2 books. And then, why did I say book 1? I meant book 2 and book 3. Whoops. He did do book 1 already. Book 2 and book 3. And, if he doesn't get into book 3, that's okay with me. These are written at the time they wrote them in the 30s. These are supposed to be at the reading level of a 2nd grader and the reading level of a 3rd grader. And he's a 1st grader. They actually meant for the kids to be able to read them themselves. Yeah, that probably would have worked if I would have waited till 1st grade to start using book 1, but I think I started it in preschool. But he was able to do the math stuff. So we'll see if his reading, as it progresses, if it catches up to the reading in the books, and if he can if I can hand this off to him in a more independent way. I'm just not sure. Maybe I should just tell myself, maybe I should just slow down. Maybe I should just commit to only doing book 2 this year and just go slower and do some other math, some other activities if it's going too fast. We definitely do abacus work, and I've used my abacus flashcards. So our other resources are abacus and abacus flashcards. And I do have some just printable math games. I'm gonna drag those out. The no prep math games. I'll say no prep, so I remember which ones they are. And maybe we'll just slow down his math schedule so that I would like his reading level to catch up, so that I wouldn't have to read him all the number problems, or the word problems. Sorry. I'd like him to be able to read that stuff on his own. That would be, preferred. Okay, so I'm gonna make a note to myself on, okay, this is covering arithmetic. I think in the 2nd book, it's still just addition and subtraction in the 2nd book. Let's go look at the very end. I think there's a review test at the very end. We'll see what's on it. Yeah, so this is up until this point, they could find the answer of stuff by looking at, there's a lot of pictures. They could just look at it and figure out the answer. But now, after this point, that won't be the case. The procedures are set forth in detail in the reading matter. So they'll have to determine from the problem, they won't be able to get clues from looking at the picture. So yeah, it would be really good. You see, they are putting a focus actually on like reading comprehension. So yeah, it looks like we only got to subtraction, addition and subtraction still. Although they do start, like I know that they have him adding, he's already starting to add like columns, like 3 numbers. Okay, where's my no prep math games? I know I've showed them before. I'll have to find them. They're in here somewhere in all my stuff. So I'm also creating for myself my own little like shopping list. Since he's my youngest, I've already bought all these resources. I already have them. So I just need to shop my own homeschool room. If you guys are interested, just as a side note, you guys know I've been doing, I don't know, maybe you don't know, but I started a budgeting playlist, and it's just my normal like household budget. But if you would like me to budget to make for the kids, to tell you what everything cost and stuff like that, I would be happy to make homeschool budgeting playlists. You're like, how much, if I want to replicate everything that Laurel's using, how much would that cost me? Like I will do that for you. Just say homeschool budget in the comments. Okay, moving on to social studies. So I could, being an RC parent, I could just pick, because he's not reading the core reading list on his own yet, a really simple way that I've heard other RC parents say that they do social studies if it's required before their kids can like read those books is they either just read the books off the core reading list to the kids themselves, or especially people say they like to pick biographies off of the RC list and just read the biographies as a family subject. I have a whole bunch of books that can be inserted. I really want the kids to be able just to read on their own if need be. A social studies curriculum just based off like literature based. So I did go through and buy all these books. It is really hard though to find books that are like the right reading level for your kids. But I did my best, and I did make all these books that I could just put into their independent reading time. Let me see if I can show you one so you kind of see the reading level. Okay, so I have a couple options for social studies that I thought I would just kind of show you. I was thinking about just reading 50 famous stories retold. This is on the RC reading list anyways, and I have a copy. I usually think of social studies as history, but I also can think of, of anything cultural being social studies, right? Then like if you sailed on the Mayflower, looks like this. Again, if they couldn't read it themselves, I could just read these kind of books to them. This drawing of the Mayflower is called a cutaway. One side of the ship is cut away so that we can see the inside. Who were the Pilgrims? A pilgrim is someone who goes on a long, long journey. The people on the Mayflower were leaving their homes to sail far away to a new land, a new life. They were going on a long, long journey, and so we call them pilgrims. Okay, so it goes over the story of the Pilgrims, the Mayflower. You could just read one little section a day, whatever. So anyways, there's a bunch of different reader books and things. And I think those things, I'm still going to keep them, probably just stick them in the reading list. The thing with any facts is that you have to be exposed to them repeatedly. Actually, it could be not a fact. It could be just information. It could be disinformation, right? But if you're exposed to it long enough, it sticks in your mind, or enough times. So I'm for the kids getting their history and like social studies in readers and in family read alouds, and in, when we're really interested in something, finding a little history documentary, like different forms here and there. So yeah, so there's a reader, there's a family read aloud, but I actually really like the Good and the Beautiful history. I know this is like totally off RC completely, but I've talked about this before. We'll be doing history year 3 this year, and so this will be the first year. I was already doing this with his older brothers, and he can just jump in we do first thing in the morning, we do Bible as a family kind of time, and then we do some kind of read aloud time, and I alternate between this history program and like just other read alouds, which I do want to make a video where I just go through. I have a basket where I just keep like throwing books in to do his family read alouds. I should just like show you guys everything that I'm thinking about, the types of things I like to read to the kids or whatever. But So I think he will, I'm just going to actually have him join in history. The more I can include him and make things a family subject, the more it simplifies our homeschool day. I think I've said this before. These history courses have been discontinued by the Good and the Beautiful, and they haven't come out with their new history courses yet. So I don't know what they're going to be, but I really like these ones still. There's also readers that come with each unit. There's 4 units in each one. Each one has like a reader that you read along with it. And they just tell you in the course book, like, okay, now read from your reader or chapter or whatever. So that by the time you're done with the unit, you've also read to them, a historical fiction book about something within the time frame that you're learning about. They always all come with some kind of extra book. This is History Stories, includes maps and images, right? And then it also every year came with some different type of game. So we love the games. Like, we love that. Like, every year we start a new history course. We're like, okay, what history game are we going to play this year? I remember I did year 1 and we liked it so much I just bought all the other years. I am glad that I did, since they discontinued them, but you probably might be able to still find the stuff out there used on eBay or something. I want to say I looked yesterday and I think you can actually still buy the PDF forms of like the course books and stuff like that. So there just looks like they're just not making any new physical products for it. But I think I saw you could still get like the course book, and you can just print it out. It's not like it's in color anyways, so it wouldn't be that much different if to just print it and put it in a binder or something. So yeah, I think we're actually just going to do this for history for him this year. I printed out the Student Explorer for his age group. I did learn, print these, if you get these, print them one-sided, because like there's things that you cut out and do things with, and then if you have stuff printed on the other side, it kind of messes you up. So I'll just be having him do, if we want, we'll see which ones are appropriate for his age level. But I do like all like the maps and stuff. This is something he could like kind of color and then cut out and then like put it into his notebook. Oh, he'll really like this ship. Oh, I forgot the notebook. Okay. So yeah, he's going to join us for Good and the Beautiful year 3 this year for social studies. We'll be doing that as a family subject, but let me show you. I forgot to mention. So remember I showed you the reading and writing companion notebook to go with the McGuffey readers? Well, you guys know I hate juggling a whole bunch of workbooks or notebooks. Like, I really just want one. But I had made that companion notebook for all their language arts stuff. I just went ahead and made a matching everything else. Level 0 notebook, and I'll share these with you in the description box. I just have them in printable form right now, but I will put them on Amazon when I get a chance to do that work. But this is for pages for all his other subjects. So he just has 2 notebooks he's working in. So like, we just know when it gets to be reading time, reading and writing time, we used one notebook, and everything else we're using this notebook for him. And they print out 9 weeks worth at a time. I'm thinking this year of doing like a 9 weeks on, 1 week off flow. But for 9 weeks will get us to our 180 days, which are, that's required by the state. So I just know that each one of these, I'll print this 4 times in a year. I can have a break every 9 weeks, and we could just do whatever. But I like to have that time to reassess, look back through the notebook, reassess, and just make a plan for the next notebook. So this notebook comes in 3 different combinations. This one is Bible, social studies, and math. There's also Bible, science, and math, and then there's social studies, science, and math. So I can pick which one of those combinations I want to print out for 9 weeks. But the pages just look like this. I started filling this out the other day, but I didn't finish my subjects and my curriculum that I'm going to be using with this notebook. Okay, so since he will be doing Bible with us this year as well, there's just a Bible notebooking page, and we'll be continuing on with leading little ones to God, and I'll probably just let him draw on here. And I also want to start doing verse copy work with him, And these ones have really, every like devotion has some really small child-friendly verse. Like I said, Jesus has said, "Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed." John 20:29. And that would be a good one just to have him practice, starting to study and practice copy work for his scripture. Here's what the social studies page looks like. So I would just use, like, he would be in here with us in the morning. We do our Bible, then we'll do social studies all together. I'll do whatever reading and activities that we do for social studies that day with our The Good and the Beautiful. Or I might just be reading something, but I know I'm going to start with The Good and the Beautiful. That's where I'm going to start the year, so get our first unit out of the way. So that's why I printed social studies, this layout first. And then I'll just let him use those Student Explorer pages that I printed out with the program. And he can either work on those and then like glue or tape them in, or we'll have him just like draw something, copy something out of a picture or out of a book or something like that. And then we have a place to label here. This year, there's going to be a focus on writing our date. And then the last pages in this one for the day would be his math pages. And this seems pretty self-explanatory. We're just going to do like his warm-up and his math assignment in here. I can write down what it was. I'm always recording and making notes in their notebooks. It really helps me when I go back. Even sometimes just after the weekend, I can't remember what we did exactly. I'll like look back and look at my own little notes in there to see what we did. So just those 3 pages. For the everything else notebook will be married up with his companion notebook for his McGuffey reader. And you can see I matched the covers so that we can see these two go together. Okay, I feel like I just went over some stuff. Let's record. We just made some decisions. Okay, social studies, we're doing the Good and the Beautiful year 3. All right, plus there's readers that go along with this. We have the Student Explorer pages. We have games that come along with that program. Okay, so I do like to write out, there's 4 units. I'm just gonna make a note to myself what the 4 units are covering. So the first unit is on ancient Israel and Mesopotamia. Then it'll be on ancient Africa and native North America. Then westward expansion and industrialization. And last, World War II. Okay, let's talk about science. So for science this year, I think I actually signed him up. This is in his co-op for, I think it's called God's World. And I am pretty sure this is an Abeka course, but I haven't seen the class description for it yet or anything. It was just a title. Yeah, I wish that they had more. They just had titles to sign your kids up for stuff instead of, they should have the title, like the class description, but they didn't. I don't know why it's a newer co-op. I think this was only going into the 3rd year that they've been going, and we're new this year. So maybe they will get a few years under their belt and have some class descriptions written up, and then they'll be able to like offer those up front with the class description. But I think that's a science class. I'm pretty sure. I think that's an Abeka course. I'm not 100%. My other options for science though are, and I don't know if they're gonna like have homework or anything with that. I'm not sure if they just do something once a week. I hope it's just that they do something once a week, honestly. Okay, so one thing, this is off of the Robinson curriculum kind of idea, is, and I don't think these ones are on the list, but they have The Tale of Jolly Robin and Solomon the Owl are on the reading list. And we just read those. We love those books so much. I went and just printed out more of the public domain of his books, the Arthur Scott Bailey books, like the Tuckman Tales and stuff, because they really are learning about animals and little ecosystems from reading these stories. And you can always like look up more science-y stuff, facts or whatever, in encyclopedias or online, or if you have other kind of animal books in your homeschool library. We love The Tale of Betsy Butterfly. I think is our favorite one, but I just made these a while back. They did get wet. And then I made I got Benny Badger, Betsy Butterfly. Let's turn to Betsy because it was our favorite one. I just found art online and just copied it and like put it into like a PowerPoint or a Word document and made my own little pages And oh, I forgot when I prepped this like ages ago. I did make little notebooking pages that could go along with the stories. I looked up, I thought Betsy, I think she's a monarch butterfly, found a picture of her, monarch butterfly and milkweed, and I left like a space. And I want to say I offered those. I think that was a free download I get, but I don't know if that was when I had my TPT store, because I could put free stuff on my TPT store, but I can't put free stuff on my Etsy shop. But I closed that TPT store, so I don't know. I might have just thrown these away. I feel like I'm one that goes through and like cleans out my like digital files. I may have just thrown it away, but I did make all of these to go along with these stories and the different animals. But that's something that you could just like easily do on your own as well. I think I was trying to go for every time they introduce a new character, I was trying to make a little notebooking page on it. Junebug, flower garden. I was trying to talk. This is where the setting was in the flower garden, but we could look up information about flower gardens. Obviously, I was doing grammar in here at some point with somebody. Yeah, I could just, so I might just use this if I feel like I need to do more science, or we might just do it for fun. But that's like something that I made that was kind of RC inspired and notebooking inspired on my own. But you could just read those Tuck Me In tales and just have your kid, notebooking. I'm trying to teach them how to extract facts and knowledge from these little stories too. My other option is, we really loved, William and I did these nature anatomy activities for kids. We went through this book for science one year, and I think this is supposed to complement this, but we actually used it, like this is more of our main text and this complemented this. So we used the information in here and the activities in here as our main history spine, but it kind of maps on, I would look up whatever like subject they were focusing on. I would look up the pages, the matching pages in here as well during those lessons. And we also we just had other like kind of reference books around, like some of the DK books, like animals or nature treasures or something like that. But they were great for pulling up like big giant like pictures for them to look at. So that's something else that I really liked this combo. It's definitely not just in FYI, this is not a Christian worldview resource, but you can just skip over that part. If you don't like evolution being presented as fact and not as a theory with competing theories, then I would just skip over those pages. It's not a big deal. And so which one would I do out of those two? So it's hard. I've done different things at different times and liked them all. So I'm just going to give myself optional, I'll say nature anatomy, just because we're doing quite a bit of notebooking already, and the nature anatomy has I like the activity book. If I want to write a class description or course description for that, I just like to look through the titles of the units. Like there's the sky, we're going to talk about the sky. You can talk about, atmosphere, we're going to cover that. Clouds, weather, seasons and storms. So I could just list out trees and leaves, ecosystems, bodies of water. Just use the titles of the sections in the book to make my course description. Oh, and you might be wondering, because that I've mentioned my Easy Peasy readers before. You may be wondering why doesn't she use those for independent reading? Well, I totally would if I thought he could read them. But like Easy Peasy, the first reader is I'll show you something. So they've got the reason I bought all these originally is because they had so many of the RC titles already within them, and it was just a lot cheaper to buy them, the Easy Peasy readers, than to buy all those individual books, and less tedious than printing them out. I mean, I think I bought these used. I'd get these for $6 or something. It was such a good deal. But see, they have the Tale of Jolly Robin, Beatrix Potter stories, the Tale of Solomon Owl. But look at this is McGuffey's second reader level reading. And he is starting out in the primer and probably going into the first reader. So I know I've always found that the Easy Peasy readers are a grade above my children's reading level. Yeah, I don't think this is a good fit for him in the first grade, but I would assign the first reader to his actual second grade independent reading time. But just, I don't know, just food for thought. Thought I would just throw that out there. And then, yeah, electives. So I have him signed up in co-op for, I know he has gym, and I know he has in co-op active music. And then, of course, at home we have Bible, which I showed you. We're going to continue our devotion, leading little ones to God. All right, so I will show you. I did make I kind of sketched out this daily schedule earlier as I was like just thinking to myself. So this is basically how Bo's day is going to go for first grade. We start school at 10. I'm for slow mornings. I'm for slow wake-ups for the kids, breakfasts, some chores in the morning. We're going to start at 10 with Bible. So he is really at a different level than his brothers. His brothers are doing the Bible recap. And so they're probably going to be, I'm going to let them stay in the schoolroom and read their chapters. And then I'll probably just take Bo into the kitchen table to read him his devotion. Then we'll come back in, right? So I just scheduled 30 minutes. I don't think it's going to take that long, but, just to be, sometimes there's all types of shenanigans going on at homeschool. Things just take longer. Somebody suddenly has to go to the bathroom. Somebody forgot to brush their teeth and whatnot. Then we'll do family time as social studies or read aloud. I scheduled myself an hour. Then I like to get his reading done first thing because it's the most important thing to me that we do. So we do it first. So we're going to do his McGuffey lessons, his reading and writing there, 30 minutes I scheduled. Then we take about an hour lunch, come back at 1. I'll do his independent reading. I scheduled 30 minutes. I only am going to ask him to read for 10, maybe even starting out at 5. I don't really care, but he just can't be, he'll have to have like his little art notebook or something out, which is what he usually does when he finishes up early and I'm not ready for him yet. Because I will be working with William at this time for math. Then he'll join me for math at 1:30. I scheduled 20 minutes roughly just to allow time for shenanigans. 2 o'clock we'll do science if we're doing science. I am not sure that he'll have to do it. If it's all taken care of at co-op, I won't worry about it. So at the very latest we'll be out of here at 2:30 for roughly 3 hours, a 3-hour day of actual schoolwork. But like I said, it'll probably actually be less. There'll be a lot of downtime within those 3 hours as well for him. I'm one that's like, if I'm not ready for him yet, but he's ready for me, he can just go play in his room, play Legos until I call him in. So, all right, that's roughly our schedule. All right, we're planned. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll share resources in the description box, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.